This has been a long time coming. I know that I have been getting communications on a very regular basis with people just begging us to do this.
That was Democratic State Senator Bonnie Weston saying her constituents have been begging her, in her words, to use her time as an elected lawmaker to do something about making Minnesotans safer from gun violence. Every lawmaker and citizen has a different idea about what that something is, but we know tonight that the Democrats who control the majority of our legislature appear to have come to a consensus on two big issues: passing a red flag law and putting universal background checks into our system of checks and balances. But this is not a done deal until the votes are actually cast. And there's obviously drama around that, right, Kent?
Yeah, there is, Jana. Many Republicans and members of the Gun Owners Caucus are criticizing Democrats for including those measures in the massive public safety budget bill, meaning there won't be separate up or down votes for background checks or red flag laws. So tonight, the Gun Owners Caucus is trying to pressure rural Democrats to stand up and vote against that bill. The chairman saying we've been sounding the alarm on this ineffective and unconstitutional legislation all session, but the time for action is now. But again, unless something changes, it does look like these changes are coming. So tonight, we looked at what that might look like.
Now that a joint committee has agreed to include a red flag law and universal background checks within Minnesota's public safety bill.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Minnesota Senator Ron Latz is feeling confident about the legislation.
I believe that they're going to pass.
For the first time in 20 years.
I've been working on this issue since the election of 2002.
He says it's taken that long to try to close the background check loophole for private sales.
How do you effectively establish a universal background check under this?
Well, in order to be a lawful purchaser of a firearm, an individual would have to apply for and qualify for a permit to purchase.
To get that permit to purchase, you would need to apply through local law enforcement to undergo a criminal background check and a mental health commitments check. Once issued, the permit will be valid for 1 year with no limitations on the number of guns you buy. But each time you buy one, you'd need to show that permit to the seller.
And then the seller would have to maintain records of the transaction for 10 years in case there's some criminal investigation and the police are trying to trace the provenance of the firearm.
The red flag law is more straightforward, following the lead of at least 19 other states, many that have enacted the laws after mass shootings.
It's called a red flag law because in most instances there are signs out there, red flags, that a person is undergoing a crisis and may be a threat to themselves or to others around them.
The main goal of all of this is just to ensure that police have the ability to take action when credible reports are made to them about what appears to be an imminent danger involving somebody who has access to guns.
Michael Lawler worked to pass the country's first red flag law as a legislator in Connecticut all the way back in 1999, following a mass shooting at a state lottery office despite the shooter's parents trying to raise red flags about the dangers he posed.
They called the police. The police said, well, there's really nothing we can do because he hasn't broken any law.
At the time, Lawler says gun owners and the NRA fought the law, but he says both blue and red states alike have followed suit in the 20 years since.
Florida, surprisingly, they passed a red flag law in the aftermath of the Parkland shootings. And under their law, which is very broad, police immediately were using it thousands of times. And so I think that's more permissive for sure than Connecticut's is. Any of these laws by themselves don't solve any particular problem. They just add more strength to a network of rules that I think if you understand how they work, you'd agree that they're reasonable.
Now, recent polling, most recently from Fox News, has consistently shown that at least 80% of American voters support red flag laws, and 87%, according to that poll, support universal background checks. But Lawler argues that they are only as effective as the agencies that enforce them. Historically, a handful of counties in the states that have them are actually doing most of the work, applying for those permits and trying to take action. So the numbers are all over the place, Jana.
Kent, the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus used the words unconstitutional or that word and saying or ineffective. What do they mean by that?
Well, ineffective is what they say applies to the background checks, and what I was talking about with different counties enforcing this differently. They just say that, frankly, in some areas it's been shown to be ineffective. But again, that's only how well these things are known about. Now, when it comes to the constitutional argument, again, the red flag laws have been there for 20 years. But keep in mind, there is one case going through the courts in New York that is challenging the constitutionality. So that's what they're referring to.